Through its combination of ideas, there's a lot to be interested in, but there also leaves a lot to be desired in this first installation. You won me over. With a little sister route, no less. We are going to be taking a look at the second volume of the 9 series, featuring one very rowdy, doting little sister, as we continue to investigate the series of supernatural murders. Today, we are going to be taking a look at 9, Episode 2, Sora Iro, Sora Uta, Sora Noto. If you have not read the first volume of 9, I would recommend checking out the first volume before reading this one. The first volume serves as a good prologue to this continuous story to get accustomed to the main plot elements of 9, and the second volume expects you to have the base knowledge needed to understand what's going on. If you are interested in checking out my review of episode 1, the link is in the description down below. To those of you who have not read episode 1 or have not heard of the series, this will be a spoiler-less review, so you can have an idea of what to expect from this volume and the series. As a story refresher, after an earthquake broke the sacred relic in town, mysterious objects known as artifacts from another world started to appear. As they landed in the hands of individuals, whoever possessed these artifacts were given special powers. Unfortunately, it wasn't long before someone had abused their powers, creating a series of petrification incidents. Our main character, Kakeru, along with his little sister Sora, joins a fellow artifact user, Miyako, as they seek to bring the culprit to justice, uncovering a mysterious organization and hidden feelings in the process. One of the major criticisms I had about the first volume is the fact that it's an introduction that establishes the premise and major plot points. The first volume had a lot of potential setup, but I wanted it to go more in depth, and it wasn't given enough time given how short these parts are. In hindsight, I admit I was overly critical of the first volume, but I still agree with my points in the initial review. However, with the introduction out of the way, 9 is able to explore more into the supernatural murder mystery as we learn more about the artifacts, users, and the organization our heroes end up meeting, along with all of its chuny anime terminology.
スクモ神社にフェーズシフトガイムのグランゲインがアウトフォージした結果夜の貴公子ビグベータバルハラソサイエティケイオスタイドエンシェントエッタプロトコルはラグナロクかシュメントディスワイルド
The real focus here, however, is on our main heroine, Sora Nimi, Kakeru's mischievous, bratty, cock-blocking gremlin little sister. And she's the absolute best.
こいつこいつって言うな何様だお前は妹様だ敬え今のは舌打ちかな開始ワンパターンか今日のお前特別うざいなそういうのやめてマジ飛んでそういうこと言うのやめておい構え退屈だからちゃんと私に構え黙れひどい
The banter between Kakeru and Sora is the most entertaining thing about Volume 2. Sora's energetic spirit livens up the scene with her snide comments to her brother to be retorted back with apathetic sarcasm, to which then she flips over to her cutesy, adoring side like a switch. It's like watching a comedy duo in action. The two siblings argue and mock each other, but they still dote and care for each other as family. It's this sibling rapport that makes you care for them. So when the fun and games stop and the conflict rears its ugly head into the two's lives, the plot carries itself with a lot of heavy weight and high stakes tension, even getting emotional considering what happens to the two of them. And when the conflict finally builds up to the climax, you get a cathartic final confrontation, and at the very end, you are presented with the most hilarious, funniest H scene, so comically absurd that it's totally in line with Sora's character personality, and it's glorious.
だから開き直るなっつーのそのさしたいだけならさ私を抱けばいいじゃんさ遅え遅え
The production hasn't changed between Volume 1 and Volume 2, and I don't think it will change as we continue with the story. 9 still has cool visual effects that add a nice touch of flair, solid character designs with absolutely wonderful eyes, yes, even the crazy ones, and super cute chibi designs. I absolutely adore the blushing Haruka chibi, super omega cute, and I can only imagine how cute her reactions will be in Volume 3. The music hasn't changed much either, aside from adding a couple of more songs. With its upbeat, slice-of-life electronica music, quiet solo piano pieces, and pumping action tracks, it's a good combination to serve 9's multiple tones throughout the story. I will absolutely give a special shout out to the action tracks because they made the climax so much more satisfying this time around. Aside from the background tracks, let's talk about the new opening. The previous opening for Volume 1 was alright, but this new opening has a much more grandiose and dramatic quality to it, to which I feel is much more representative of the series. Those violins just get me every time. The animators also decided to go a bit more ham on the visual effects for the opening sequence, which was cool to see them flex for a bit. Now let's take a little bit of time to specifically address some of the changes with our other supporting characters. In the first volume, a lot more time has been given to get to know the characters more. While she made a minor appearance in Volume 1, Haruka has more of an active role to play here, along with foreshadowing details about her in her focus volume for Volume 3. As for Noah, I quite like her portrayal here. Noah comes across less like a hostile threat as shown in Volume 1, but here, while she's still as stoic and antisocial as ever, she talks a lot more frequently, and we are shown more of her unsensible, chuny, Lolita edgelord side.
でもあれっすよ。この兄貴、得意点っすよ。得意点。いいだろう、ここで言わなくても。いえ、詳しく聞かせてほしい。
The most significant one I feel is Sofita, our otherworld guide. While she still acts like an observer most of the time, and she can't reveal all of the answers to our questions, Sofita takes a more active role and gets more involved with our main cast, which is a nice change of pace from her normal pissy attitude towards our main character. Well, I mean, she's still as pissy as always, but considerably less. 9 Episode 2 is a major step up from Episode 1. 9 continues the mystery, deepening the supernatural thriller, and finally establishing a legitimate threat against our main cast. From what I had experienced, Sora has achieved the impossible. Created an actually good sister route, to which I personally believe to be a rarity in visual novels. If you like Emoto routes, this is a visual novel you need to 100% pick up. Speaking generally though, Sora is just that good from both a comedic front and a character plot-driven front, and she deserves all the attention. I give 9 Episode 2 a 4 out of 5 with a seal of recommendation, and a 5 out of 5 for all of you Emoto-loving broskies out there. Subscribe if you liked the video and want to see more. Check back every week for new content. For more of my thoughts, you can find me on Twitter at TheAugustHale.